talking to a mother of a child there who said, every Sunday we attend church. After church, we go to the grocery store and we buy the ingredients from the recipe from that week. And our son prepares the meal from what he learned at Young Chefs on Tuesday night class for the whole family on Sunday. And he proudly displays it and he proudly plates it. And he makes the meal after shopping with us as a family. And then we put him to bed on Sunday night and he says, 2 more sleeps to cooking class.
Are you curious about discovering ways of making your life better? Then welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Nickman, and this is The Exploding Human. Listen in while I talk with all kinds of people in the fields of personal growth, health and healing, alternative therapies, psychology, spirituality, environment, and the future. I'm looking for those answers that make life better for everyone. You'll meet cutting-edge practitioners, doctors, artists, filmmakers, business people, and those who have overcome challenges. The brave, the curious, anyone who's out there helping us humans to explore, expand, and explode.
Hey, welcome to The Exploding Human. My name is Bob Nickman. My guest today is Leigh Feldman, and we're going to be talking about Young Chefs Academy, where kids of all ages learn hands-on cooking skills, and how cooking doubles as real-world learning and building confidence and life skills through food. Leigh talks about how cooking builds confidence, not just in culinary skills, but how it encourages independence, self-education, and personal growth. We talk about the kitchen being a screen-free learning environment, which combines tactile learning, creativity, and social connection, and the benefits that come along with this for the entire family. So let's jump in. This is Leigh Feldman. Leigh, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here, and we're going to be talking about cooking, kids, food, nutrition, health, and maybe a little business too. Why not?
Well, I'm excited, and I want to emphasize that comma, the cooking, kids, and not actually cooking or baking children. Some might confuse us with a Hansel and Gretel type operation. So
apparently that's a different subset of humanity that I'm not part of.
Yes, absolutely. So emphasis on that comma there. But I am very excited to speak with you today. I really appreciate the opportunity, even before the recording, to talk to you about some of the topics and guests you've had. So this is very much in the world I want to learn more about, be involved in, because we're talking about the impact on our bodies and health and what we put in it and how it impacts how we feel.
The really essential thing, I think, is to train children at a young age, or teach. Train is not really a great word. Teach children.
Oh, I have 4 kids. They need to be trained. Trust me, you're okay there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of boundaries, but yeah. So the idea of what I was thinking about, what I was taught as a kid in terms of nutrition. There was that triangle, that little pyramid, and it had the dairy and the meat and the whatever it was, and it wasn't very thorough. It was very basic, and because food was a little bit cleaner back then when I was a youth, and there wasn't so much processed food for sure. It's just, that, you didn't get too far off the mark. There wasn't a whole lot of child obesity in my elementary school classes, maybe 1 kid, I don't know what, maybe 2 at the most, but most kids ran around. They were healthy. They, they ate the standard sort of things that, people in cities ate. But, you could, I remember getting eggs delivered to our house when I was a kid. Milk. There was a truck that went around. That doesn't even exist anymore.
Well, my 6th grade health study book, on the cover was a cast iron skillet with steak and eggs. And it talked about that was a healthy breakfast to have. And then I remember maybe, a decade, 2 decades ago, that was the worst breakfast to have. All of a sudden, cholesterol, unhealthy fats, all these things started becoming sort of the nomenclature in media. And the idea of having steak and eggs for breakfast was obscene. But now you're back to protein counts and macros, and the idea of steak and eggs for breakfast for a lot of people might be very appealing again. So it's somewhat cyclical, what's in trend, what's not, coming back and forth. But certainly establishing healthy eating habits and at least understanding that what is on your plate matters and has an impact on you, certainly why our programs exist.
So in your programs, I guess it's mostly for kids. Did they? How do you sort of structure that? And like what's sort of the baseline of what you're trying to do? There's some education, obviously, and then there's some skills and some. Well, the other thing I'm thinking about is when kids cook. I'm just thinking about when my own kids were little. They loved it. They just thought it was the coolest thing they could do.
Yeah.
And my son even used to wear a chef's hat. We got
Oh,
him a
that's
chef's
awesome.
hat, and he thought it was like he thought it was the greatest thing ever. When you bring kids into, I guess you would consider cooking an adult activity for the most part, but when you bring kids into it, they get a certain confidence and a certain sense of purpose and feeling good about themselves that they've done this, especially when their parents are eating the food they made. That's pretty cool.
You nailed everything that is the programming for Young Chefs Academy and Flower Power Cooking Studios, which is the two brands that we own and run day to day. And that's what it's about. We teach real cooking skills. We teach you how to actually prepare meals, how to read recipes, the science, the math, the measurement behind heating, cooling, emulsification, all the things that really go into making your food. But what we really teach is confidence in the kitchen. We want children to be proud of the things that they create in our locations, but also be able to walk into any kitchen space and say, I got this. I know how these
Yeah.
tools work. I know what to do here. I know how to create things. My wife jokes that I still cook like I'm in college. That was 2.5 decades ago. I think I have mastered some of those meals and now I'm trying to master a few more. But if there was a program like Young Chefs or Flower Power when I was getting ready to head to college or even in middle school or elementary school, I would have loved the opportunity
Yeah.
to really learn how to cook and use all the tools, understand the cuts, knife safety, all the things that really go into preparing the meals and the recipes that we provide as curriculum for both of those brands.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces to it. I didn't even think about knife safety, but that kind of makes sense, especially
Knife
with kids.
safety, stove safety. We are very much here to make sure children understand how to interact in a kitchen. And, to be clear, it's a residential kitchen. Our classrooms are built to look like a home kitchen, to look like yours, though I imagine yours is much nicer, but it's learning how to cook with a fridge, cabinets, stove, microwave, sink, dishwasher, just like they'd experience in their home environment. So, again, that they could walk into their home kitchen and say, yeah, I know what to do here. But in our spaces, once you turn, it looks like a classroom. You have mise en place tables, non porous surfaces, all the things that you can really prepare all the ingredients and all the steps and all the things that go into really the magic of making a meal through the instruction of a recipe.
What about cleanup?
Cleanup is a major part.
Yeah.
That's a big part of our piece related to being a brand because we're talking about let us handle the mess. So for families, they enjoy bringing the children to our locations because they go, I don't have to clean up after my kids. But we also teach our kids how to clean up properly in the stages of disinfecting and making sure that surfaces are prepared for the next time you cook. We obviously work with eggs, we work with flour, we work with a ton of things that you need to make sure the surfaces is disinfected and clean so that if you're making something else, you're not having cross contamination. So we teach a lot about kitchen and food safety, cleanliness, preparing, and then of course we do fun games when it comes to the actual sweeping, mopping, dusting, spraying,
Yeah.
all the things that go into actually making kids responsible for cleaning up after themselves.
And the ages are probably, I'm going to guess, starting at about 6.
Yeah, very close. So we actually start as young as 3 for
Oh,
kinder cooks. And
yeah.
for 3 to 6, you have, kind of a mommy and me parent and
Yeah.
child class. Though more and more, I see parents dropping off their 3-year-olds and saying, hey, this is alone time for mom and dad.
Yeah.
We'll see you in an hour. But after that, you have junior chefs ages 7 to 10, senior chefs 11 to 13, and then our teen classes mostly 14 to 18. And then obviously you get into the adult and family programming once you're over 18.
I've never seen one of these places, but I'm in Los Angeles. I don't see it here, but maybe it's other cities.
Yeah, we are in 56 locations. Unfortunately, none in Los Angeles. So if any listeners are interested in bringing a Young Chefs or Flower Power to Los Angeles, they should certainly reach out and we can have a conversation of what that looks like as an entrepreneur and an owner. But yes, 56 locations and counting. We have more that'll be opening up. So
Oh,
we're
great.
very
Where did it
excited to
start?
spread the joy. Yeah, so Flower Power started in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and
Ah,
Young Chef started in the Waco, Texas area. And both have expanded, like wildfire nationally.
well, it's just a great idea to be able to, have your kids learn about something like that because it's something you do your whole life is eat.
Oh, absolutely. It's a life skill and it's a progression skill. So, we are very similar to like a music lesson where you go every Thursday to learn trumpet, or a swim lesson where
Hmm.
you go every Tuesday to learn swimming, where we have weekly curriculum and you progress. And similar to like a karate or a taekwondo, you start off as a white chef jacket, you earn your patches and stripes, and you eventually test to become a black jacket executive level chef.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about, where you stand in terms of teaching these kids about nutrition and certain types of foods and, food allergies and all these other things that come into play with food, and also uh, things like seed oils, sugar,
Oh,
things that
yes.
are very detrimental to people that have been pretty well documented to be not the healthiest things to do.
Well, the sugar is the biggest one. And again, I have four kids who I do again think should be trained, but sugar is the biggest challenge in our household and a
Yeah.
lot of the households for parents that come into our locations. And we really try to teach cooking as a sensory experience, the smell, the taste, the touch. And you also talk about things that can be substituted. How can we remove some of these items to still have the same flavor profile through taste, the same texture, or the same touch, or the same smell? So, what can we do to reduce the sugar that we're using in recipes and replace with certain things that might have a natural sweetness? You
Yeah.
certainly get into natural sugars that play with a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. And so we talk about that related to processed sugar, refined sugar, the amount of sugar that you might have in a candy bar, and what that might be equal to related to fruits, berries, certain things that could replace that. And then obviously in our recipe creation and construction, we talk about, can we replace some of those ingredients that you might find calling for just cups of sugar or things that have sugar in them, to then be again have something that supplements that, that's a little more healthier, especially for kids and trying to create those healthy eating habits. My dream is that kids will say, I don't need that candy bar, I'll just have some berries and honey and some
Yeah.
yogurt instead. But the second part is understanding what is the total amount of grams of sugar in both of those things. Because yes, they might say, I don't want the candy bar, I'll replace it with honey and blueberries and yogurt. But obviously, if they're eating 5 tubs of that, 4 jars of honey, and
Yeah.
19 pounds of blueberries,
Yeah.
you're not really making healthy eating habits as far as the decisions you're making to what to put in your body.
See, I found for me that particularly when I was younger, I ate a lot healthier than I did when I
Oh,
was
really?
younger. Yeah.
What do you think spurred that? Is it just what was available to you?
I didn't know.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know. I mean, I, I always tell people that I had this experience when I was 22 years old, a long time ago. I was eating a lot of McDonald's. And as a 22-year-old, I had cellulite on my stomach. Um, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is this? And it was from eating junk food, fast foods. Because I didn't know anything about health and nutrition at all. And then as I got older and I got into, I like sugar a lot. And I realized every time I ate it, things would happen. Like I couldn't sleep well, or I'd get real sluggish, kind of depressed and a little sluggish, tired. And then I'd grind my teeth at night and my stomach would feel weird. And I was like, this is killing me. I mean, it was, and I wasn't like ridiculous with sugar, but it was too much for me. And I realized that I had to change some things. So, as I slowly started to explore this stuff, and then when I got married, my wife was discovered she was allergic to gluten.
Oh, okay.
So we started learning about it. So slowly I started learning about these things and eliminating things that were not making me feel good and adding things that were. And, you miss these certain tastes because they're addicting. They're very, very addicting.
I love that you use that word because I think it's a word that so many people are afraid of, especially when it comes to sugar.
Yeah.
Or for me personally, caffeine. it is an addiction. When people talk about, no, it's not an addiction, I just have cravings. That's your body
Yeah.
telling you, give me, give me, give me, give me. And it wants to be fed in a certain way that you might recognize is not healthy. And it's about curbing those addictions, maybe slowly, maybe cold turkey. But I find that the easiest way to do that is that when people really understand the impact, not just on the physical health, but the mental health,
Yeah.
what you're experiencing. You just described sort of the mood, the change, the energy levels. And I think when people start to put that together and understand they don't need to be afraid of the word addiction, that they can start making modifications slowly or substitutions slowly to eventually wean themselves from that thing they might be addicted to, they're in a much better spot. But so many people are afraid of that word addiction. And because of that, they don't even start on step one.
Yeah. Well, what happens is that when you eliminate something like, let's just say sugar or salt, you reduce your salt. And then if you are to go back to it and try it again, it's overkill. You can't, your taste buds can't handle it. Your body can't handle it. You realize, oh, I really did have a problem with this. It was so strong. And so you realize that you had a problem with it, because when you try it again, it's kind of too much. I had a guy on the show a couple years ago. He transformed everything he was eating, and he had some people over, and he bought some health soup,
Okay.
organic soup, in the can, but a healthy company, organic, all this stuff. He said it was too salty. I couldn't eat it. He said, I just couldn't do it. And so the thing is, with another thing about cooking is you can control the amount of things that you can't when you get packaged food or processed things that have been made, even in a restaurant. I don't even like to eat in restaurants at this point because I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, quality of ingredients. But things like a healthy soup, it's a great first step. But if you say this is too salty for me,
Yeah.
what sort of things can you add? At that point, it's obviously, if you're buying it from a can, it's hard to reduce or substitute or
Well,
change,
right.
but you could add something to it to change the flavor profile, something
Yep.
that's healthy to add. You could cut it, water it down if it's a soup. You could add some bread, anything to remove sort of the sodium or salt taste
Yeah.
that you're experiencing to still have it be something healthy that you're putting in your body. One other word that you used that was really interesting, and this might be too personal of a question, but use the word allergic. And you
Mhm.
mentioned your wife being allergic and finding out she needs to be gluten-free.
Yeah.
How quickly did she make the change after finding out that she was allergic to gluten?
I would say it was pretty quick. It was a few months.
And so I find that to be another fascinating word when it comes to people mentally accepting and preparing themselves to actually make the changes they need to in life. And so I've had that conversation with other friends where cholesterol is too high, blood pressure is bad, and they continue to just devour red meat. And I say,
Yeah.
why don't you tell yourself that you are allergic to steak? What kind of changes would you make if you knew it was an allergy? Not I should cut down and make some changes to my diet. But what if you thought of it in the sense that this is truly harming you? You are having an adverse reaction to it because you are allergic.
Yeah.
And I think that mental framework actually changed for some of them on the idea of, oh, I'm allergic to this. This is, I don't want to say poisoning me, but this is having a negative impact on how I feel for the rest of the day and maybe tomorrow. Maybe that can help cut down. And so I've tried to do that myself with things that I know that are unhealthy for me and saying, you know what? The reason why you enjoy it at first, but then feel terrible later is you're allergic to it. That doesn't need to be
Well,
real, but in my mind, I need to believe it is so that I stop craving it and stop having that addiction to it and going, okay, if you are going to give yourself that thing, knowing that it feels good in the moment, but feels terrible later on for the next day,
well,
2 days, 3 days,
yeah.
just know you're dealing with an allergic reaction.
There's an interesting thing about the body that it wants the thing that's bad for it.
Yeah.
And you just go, well, but I want it. Yeah, I know you
Have
do.
I said I'm married with 4 children? I understand this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got a couple friends that are really into ice cream, and they know it's not good for you, but they love it. They always say, I gotta have my ice cream. It's mine. It's mine. It's my sugar, my ice cream. And the it doesn't they don't do well when they eat it. They don't feel good. They got guts on they some people eat it every night. It's like the reward at the end of the day for existing.
Well, I do think there are some guilty pleasures you should
Yes,
enjoy in life
yes.
for sure. But for me, the interest is always in the mental connection to the physical. We were talking about reading news and doom scrolling before the call. I'm not sure if you saw the report related to the impact of somebody telling you you slept well and feeling refreshed versus actually getting a good night of sleep. And it talks about sort of the
Oh,
report from the testing of all these people that were in the morning told you slept great, feeling better that day. And so I think there's so many unique causations, correlations, links between the mind and the body, obviously. I know your listeners will say, wow, what great insight on that one there. But I think when it comes to healthy eating habits and how we feel physically, there's a lot that we can do to change that just with how we convince ourselves in our mind of making better choices, getting more sleep, taking care of ourselves. But, again, in our mind, convincing us that this is the right thing to do, and then actually feeling better about it later on.
that period of time where you're weaning yourself off of something that's not working to getting to the place where you're doing the thing that is working, that period of time is kind of uncomfortable
Yeah.
because it's like a detox and it doesn't feel that good. And so the tendency is to go backwards to the thing that felt good. And that's, I think, I don't know what the difference is between people that are able to make that change and people that just go, screw it, I'm not doing that. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's just how bad you felt. There's
Yeah, or
certain
how bad you want it.
desperation.
I
Yeah.
think, especially when it comes to eating and the food we put in our body, like you said, there's so much of that instant gratification, the thing that your body wants. But, I try to remind myself, and what we try to remind children through our curriculum is the decisions you make today impact not just today and not just tomorrow, but long term.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I had the knowledge of, hey, every time you eat insert unhealthy thing, it's taking X amount of minutes off your life, I'd probably be more cognizant and aware of the choices I make in regards to what I eat. I'd probably drastically change what I meal prep and meal plan, what I consume. But I never think like that. I just think, oh, a
Right.
hamburger sounds good for lunch.
Sure does.
Well, I think that's why, at Young Chefs and Flower Power, we're very focused on habits and healthy eating habits and thinking about, again, calories, sugar, processed food, and how it impacts you, again, not just today, but in the future, and trying to create those healthy eating habits, getting into the habit of having a vegetable, having a fruit, finding a replacement for something where your body's telling you, I just want sugar. Having that knowledge and awareness to at least make the decision of, should I eat this or should I eat something else?
And when you think about certain foods that you can overeat very easily, let's just pick bread. It's a real easy thing to just devour it. But you never really think about somebody overeating broccoli. You can't do it. At some point, your body goes, "Oh, that's good. I'm good. Yeah. It's my brain is telling me I'm satisfied." But there's certain foods that you know you get this insulin resistance, and people don't feel sated even though they're full.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all sort of
Or
things
blood
I've.
sugar impact, all the things where you're seeing a change or a spike and your body's saying, I feel great. So I hear you. I mean, that's the challenge is how do you create healthy eating habits by introducing foods that maybe you wouldn't normally have? When you said you ate much more healthy as a child, that's why I was curious if it was sort of ability to access those things or if it was, oh, I made smarter decisions as a kid.
Well, what I'm saying as a kid, my parents did it all, so
Yeah, of
I didn't
course.
have to do anything really except sit down and eat what was prepared.
But thank goodness they put healthy food in front of you.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, it wasn't. Although breakfast cereal was part of it, and
Ah,
that was
yeah.
not good. And we used to feed the leftover breakfast cereal to the dog, and the dog got a big fat gut.
Oh,
It's a little dachshund that we had, and it was like the gut like kind of hung down. I was like, I think maybe we should stop giving this. I mean,
See, for
literally,
my
that's
children, it's been the cavities. It's been the challenge of sugary
yep,
cereal staying with them throughout the day, even after brushing and flossing. And even that of, again, going back to my health textbook, steak and eggs, it's a how are you starting the day? What are you putting in your body to fuel you into the afternoon and evening?
yeah. And there's a lot of theories about the best way to do that, and I think probably some people do better with certain things than other things. I mean, there's my wife and I eat similarly and differently. There's things that I can't don't like that she does that she actually really needs and thrives on, and things I do, and it's sort of like there's some crossover things and then there's separate things because we're different. We're just different.
Yeah. I mean, obviously a good match then if you're complementary to each other. You
Most of
know,
the time, yeah.
well, I'll hope that she takes that as a compliment. But like you
She
said,
will.
it's what are the things that our parents are providing for us? What are they exposing us to? What are they allowing us to have access to that's in the fridge or freezer? And so a lot of the programming we do is about meal prep, meal planning for our teens. It's somewhat entrepreneurial in the sense of grocery shopping,
Mm,
understanding couponing, so that you can take care of yourself and really one day a partner. And so a lot of the recipes and coursework that we provide, is really again on the skills, but also on the healthy eating habits and healthy meal prep and planning so that you can take care of yourself and make those decisions versus, I'll just go for fast food tonight because I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of energy and I don't want to make something.
I think the best thing that's happened in fast food is that the prices have gone up.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's it's like it used to be, oh, I can drive by this thing and spend a couple bucks and I'm full and I don't have to think about eating. But it's not like that now from what I'm hearing. I mean, I haven't been to a fast food restaurant in years, but somebody was telling me like a Big Mac, a couple things was like 25 bucks or something. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
it was like really high.
I mean, I see the same with just restaurants where people now go, why would I go out for a meal? A meal for two is $40 to $50.
Yeah.
Do you know how much I can make with that? And that's really what we try to teach our teens, especially, and then adult and family classes about what can you do with the money you have available and how far can you stretch that for healthy meals?
Right. Right. It's cheaper, it's healthier, and you have control over what you're putting in your body. And
Absolutely.
so there's a freedom to that. Financial freedom and
Hmm.
physical freedom, mental freedom. There's a lot of pluses to taking on that skill. And then I was wondering, is it all cooked food that you do, or do you do some meal preparation that's more along the lines of like salads and raw kind of things or
Yeah,
fruit
very
salad?
much so. It's very
Okay.
much meal prep, meal planning, lots of different recipes, lots of different courses, and then, of course, specialty workshops where we do something that's unique and specific and we sort of double click and double down on that for a 90-minute course. So, something like a ramen workshop or a charcuterie workshop or a sushi workshop. But, for example, the last time I was visiting locations in a 90-minute class, we generally do two recipes. We
Mm.
did a chocolate zucchini brownie with a white cream sauce demi-glaze and a quattro formaggio sourdough pizza with sweet basil and corn, all in 90 minutes, all with the structure of learning, creating, cutting, measuring, dicing, grading, all of the things we do and preparing that's sort of a meal that everyone can taste and enjoy at the end of the class.
It sounds delicious.
Well, we'll need to get you to a Young Chefs or a Flower Power Cooking Studios.
Yeah.
We got 56 around the country,
Yeah.
so we'll get you to one of them. That's
What
for
a
sure.
wonderful idea. Do you have kids that come in or teens or that are overweight and want to learn how to cook for themselves that so they can be healthier?
Very much so. You see a lot of children coming in start of school year, coming back from winter break, where they're needing something that's a little more structured, maybe an after school activity, something where they can really focus and have learning outside of traditional school during the day. You have quite a few kids that come in where parents are wanting them to have better healthy eating habits
Oh,
and
great.
understanding of what they're putting in their body. And then you get a lot of kids where, I've made this mistake, and I do think it's sometimes a mistake where the parents walk in and they say, this is Travis, he's our all-star baseball player, and this is Rebecca, our daughter, she's our volleyball and swim star, and this is Charles. Charles is our creative child. And we have a lot of children where sports and athletics is not for them. And this becomes their safe space to really have it be their competitive activity. And it's the social aspect of meeting kids, making
Yeah.
friends. It's the community aspect of meeting people in your town or in your market. It's the STEM and STEAM based learning. So there's interest there in the science, the math, the measurement, the hands on tactile experience. And, again, for the teens, it's the entrepreneurial side. And when we do have children that maybe aren't the healthiest on first appearance, it's really about making those changes and being skilled enough to make those changes while shopping for themselves. Because again, one day they're going to be an adult and need to take care of themselves. And we want to prepare them for that future.
So when you have a class, how many people are in it? Usually, what's the range of people?
Yeah, we try to cap it at 12 students.
Mm-hmm.
We have an instructor and an assistant instructor. So we always try to keep our ratio as 6 to 1.
Okay,
Six students to one
that sounds
instructor.
really great. So, and then you guys buy the ingredients, I'm assuming, and
Yeah, everything is provided. All you need to do is show up in your white chef jacket
oh,
or white chef jacket with patches of stripes or black jacket if you've earned that already, and the rest is provided.
that sounds really like a great thing for kids. Like it's like an after school thing, maybe weekends too, I would think.
Yeah, after school for the most part, weekends as well. We do camps. We're certainly in summer camp season right now. We do workshops. We do birthday parties on weekends as well for adults and kids. And then during the week, Monday through Friday, again, it's a lot like a taekwondo. We're coming to a class
Mm-hmm.
Thursdays at 6:30 because you're assigned that time as a junior or senior chef and there's certain kids with certain personalities we want to put you together with based on skill level, based on maybe wiggles that you might have, based on interest. And so you're assigned that day and time. And it is a weekly class that we've had some kids that have been coming for 9 years plus each
Wow.
week,
Mm.
learning new skills related to culinary arts.
Well, I mean, obviously, adults go study this stuff all over the world, and there's so many options to explore. So it sounds like you're exposing them to all these possibilities. Do any of them ever go on to like chef schools and things?
Absolutely. So in skill-based states where you're sort of able to test out of cohort one or cohort two, that's a huge plus. We sort of say it's like if you go to automotive school or HVAC school and you grew up fixing cars or
Mm-hmm.
tinkering with machines and you understand it. Or I often use the example, you show up to Spanish 101 and your name is Miguel Hernandez and the teacher says, "My apologies, I'm just asking because of your name. By any chance, do you speak Spanish?" And they say, "Absolutely. It's the only language spoken in my house." They'd
Right.
say, "Well, why are you in Spanish 101? Let's move you forward." So, in skill based states where graduates from Young Chefs or Flower Power go to attend a real culinary program, they're oftentimes able to graduate out of cohort one or test out of even cohort two to be farther along in the program because they have those skills already.
And the instructors are do you train them or is it part? It's a
We do.
franchise, I'm assuming.
It is a
And
franchise.
then
So,
and
we
then
teach people how to teach cooking to kids and families.
oh, okay. It's a big operation to do all that kind of training.
It is. We have a team to support everyone in regards to the operations, the marketing, the technology, curriculum. We are here as a full service group to make sure everyone is supported. If we do our job well, ideally, the owner and the team, all they need to do is provide a remarkable experience. We mean
Yeah.
that in the truest sense of the word. We want people leaving our locations, talking about it, telling people about it, saying, "This is incredible. You need to take your children, your family, your coworkers. You should go check it out."
It also sounds like you were saying that the kids that maybe aren't good at sports or have some sort of a reason they can't do sports. What a wonderful thing for them to feel have a purpose and a skill that makes them feel good.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of kids that might be good at sports, but doing sports outside in Arizona or Texas during the summer, they might say, I think I'm going to do some indoor activities
Yeah.
during this week of summer. So we always welcome any child, and we definitely have a lot of athletes, and we love having them there. And they bring that competitive fire to some of our challenge kitchen experiences. But it certainly is for anyone and everyone. That's the thing is anyone can cook. I know that's a famous phrase from the movie Ratatouille, but it's the truth. There is no person that comes into a location and says, I don't know how to cook, that doesn't leave with at least one new tool in their tool belt.
It does feel good to accomplish something like that.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite experiences has been visiting one of our locations in Atlanta and talking to a mother of a child there who said, every Sunday We attend church. After church, we go to the grocery store and we buy the ingredients from the recipe from that week. And our son prepares the meal from what he learned at Young Chefs on Tuesday night class for the whole family on Sunday. And he proudly displays it and he proudly plates it. And he makes the meal after shopping with us as a family. And then we put him to bed on Sunday night and he says, 2 more sleeps to cooking class. And that was so amazing and has stuck with me since.
Wow.
Because it's everything we talk about doing with creating confidence in the kitchen, but really having the opportunity to say, yeah, sister might be special at this, but watch what I can do. Watch how I can impress and support and create for the family. And then, of course, I love that they're so excited that on Sunday night they go to bed knowing 2 more sleeps until cooking class.
Plus, the parents don't have to cook.
Yeah, absolutely. A night off their schedule, which is certainly something that my parents did for me. And I think it really prepares you for not just the prep, the cooking, the planning, the preparing, the shopping, but also the cleanup, as you mentioned, because we want our children to be responsible adults and responsible partners.
How did you get into this? What was your background?
I've been a franchisee. I've worked in education. So I was a teacher. So youth enrichment, youth activities was certainly of interest to me. Having been a franchisee and then having worked on the franchisor side, I was asked if I wanted to come and lead this organization and platform, and I jumped at the opportunity. There was no way I'd say no. Again, I have 4 kids. I'll say happily married, though, you can ask my wife, she might differ on that. But 4 kids happily married with the opportunity to lead a company that provides youth enrichment activities to kids through cooking and culinary arts. It was a no-brainer for me to come and join this organization. It's a great program. And obviously, if any of your listeners are interested in learning more, whether sending their children to any of our locations or learning more about how we partner with entrepreneurs and operators, they can reach out to me. My name is Leigh Feldman, Leigh Feldman, like the actor Corey Feldman, if you're of a certain age or decade. And I will always welcome the conversation about bringing a Young Chefs or Flower Power to any market.
And people can just go on the website to be able to do that.
Of course. They can find us youngchefsacademy.com or Flower Power Cooking Studios online.
Okay. I went on the first website before the interview just
very nice.
Check it out. Yeah. I wanted to see all the different categories and options, and it was great. It's a great website.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I know you did a good job designing it. It makes you go, oh, these people know what they're doing.
Oh, well, that's awesome, because by the time this releases, we'll actually have our new website developed and posted and ready for everyone to check out.
Thanks so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. This was phenomenal. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Not just for having me as a guest, but for all you're doing in spreading awareness for health. I certainly encourage all your listeners to go and listen to other episodes. I know we talked about the episode related to thyroid and diabetes. There's a lot of knowledge and gems that your guests are providing. So thank you again for doing this.
Well, thank you for the commercial. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for the time, and it was great talking to you.
You too. Have a great day.
You too.
Much appreciation for you folks listening to The Exploding Human. The website is theexplodinghuman.com. You can also listen on YouTube. That is The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman. Once again, I want to thank Leigh Feldman for being on the show. The business is Young Chefs Academy, and you can reach Leigh at Leigh Feldman at youthfranchisebrands.com. Have a great day. Thank you.